Voting has begun in America with millions of people registered to cast their votes. Kamala Harris and Donald Trump both ended their campaigns last night. Polls say the outcome is so close to call. Carolyn Presutti from the Voice of America is in Palm Beach, Florida, and joins us now. A very good afternoon to you, well, South African time, Carolyn. Now, once upon a time, Florida was the ultimate battleground, but not anymore.
Absolutely. And a good afternoon to you, Moyo, and all of your wonderful viewers. We are currently in Palm Beach County. I'm actually standing in front of the Palm Beach County Convention Center, and this is where it's all going to take place, right? We have been waiting months, years for this day, right? Election day. And as you say, I'm in Florida, and it's now more a red state, which means it will tilt towards Republican. How did that happen? A lot of retirees come here, a lot of older people. They tend to be Republican. But not only that, this county especially, because this is where former President Donald Trump and his wife Melania live. They live in Mar-a-Lago, which is about maybe 2 kilometers away from us, a bit south and a bit east of us. That's where they are right now. They will be voting at their local precinct sometime this morning, and then they'll settle in for a very long night, as we all expect it to be. We will be here at the convention center. This is where the election watch party will be held. This is where the former president, his family, his supporters, his volunteers will all gather to watch all the election results. They're going to be looking for those 7 crucial battleground states. Those are the states that could tip this election. Will we have an answer tonight? Not so much. We really aren't thinking that we will have a president by the end of the night. And that is because 2 of those battleground states, Wisconsin and also the important Pennsylvania, which has 19 electoral votes, won't begin counting. Well, actually, they've already started counting the mail-in ballots today at 7 o'clock. But so that was about 2 hours ago here, USA time. But that is going to take a while just for the mail-in ballots. And then, of course, we have all the people that are coming in person already. 78 million Americans voted early or by mail. This is an enormous election for our country. We will keep you updated as it goes throughout the day.
Well, it would, of course. Does it mean, though, that given the inroads that Republicans have made, especially in the last 2 elections, is it a foregone conclusion that Kamala Harris will lose this one?
Oh, it's not a foregone conclusion, anything. Every poll shows both Harris and Trump neck and neck. Very, very close. I've seen some polls where maybe 3 points either way, maybe 2 points, 1 point either way. And I heard an expert yesterday say this, and don't forget that she said it's not that we're showing how close the race is, it's that we're showing that we don't know what the result will be. And I thought that was very introspective, very intelligent, that we really don't know which way it's going to turn. We will be watching those battleground states. We will be watching those early returns. However, what happened 4 years ago was that Trump pulled out the initial result because those are from all over the suburban areas. Then once the urban areas came in, then Biden tended to reach above his numbers. And that's what we call a red mirage. Again, red being the Republican Party. And that's why the mirage was, oh my gosh, Trump looks like he's going to win. And then Biden pulled it out, blue being Democrat. So we'll need to watch for that. We'll need to watch for the swing states. We'll just need to see how many results we have by the end of the night.
How are people processing, because those of us who are obviously very far away from where you are, it tends to confuse us somewhat. On the one hand, you have former President Trump saying that they're pushing and they're going to win. And then at the same time, keeps on telling people that the election has in fact already been stolen. How do people reconcile those 2 views?
Right. Some experts say that he is planting the seed in case he loses to say, once again, like he did 4 years ago, that the election was rigged. And so election workers are on edge because of that, and they are double-checking their ballots. There is an enormous amount of security at every polling place. We have security via drones. Some of the National Guard is ready to be called out. We have officers on horseback in some areas. We have bulletproof glass. And that is how they're securing this election. But you are right. Former President Trump has been saying, if we lose, it's rigged. Well, when you look at the polls, when you talk to people out here, there are people who are Harris supporters. I interviewed one 2 days ago. He had a hat on that said, Make America Great Again, which is Trump's hat, right? And so when I interviewed him, he said, I'm voting for Harris. And I said, but you have a Trump hat on. And he said, well, in this life, you have to wear a lot of hats. So take that as you see it. He was here in Palm Beach. People on both sides of the fence, very, very emotional about their candidate. And they truly have passion for their candidate. Now, that being said, I did see this. 70% of Republicans, 70% of Democrats say this is the most important election of their life. Whereas of the undecided voters, a very small sliver of this country, 30% say it's not the biggest election of their lives. So we'll see if those undecideds come out. Trump has been trying to court the young male white voter. That is who he's been trying to get to come out and support him. He's been on the Joe Rogan podcast, very popular podcast, actually internationally. #1 on Spotify. 80% of his listeners are male. He went on that podcast for 3 hours, as did his vice presidential nominee, J.D. Vance. He went on that podcast for 3 hours. Last night, Joe Rogan endorsed former President Trump. The key there, though, is getting those young white male voters to the polls. They traditionally do not vote. So we'll have to see if he's motivated them enough to come out to the polls. If he does have that motivation, that could put him above Harris in the gender gap. Many women voting for Harris, many men voting for Trump. Trump needs the younger male demographic. So we'll look at those numbers too, exit polls. And then, of course, when this election is over, they'll be analyzing it for years. It's windy here in Palm Beach, by the way, but it's a beautiful day.
Well, I mean, you had yesterday, people like your Lady Gagas and your Oprah Winfrey's coming through for Kamala Harris, and you heard her saying the momentum is on her campaign side.
They'll both say that, and they'll continue to both say that today. I'm sure when we cover President Trump voting today, he will say the same thing. It's very positive. They need to keep up that positive beat. However, they need to couch that, because if they're overconfident, then the voters won't come out for them, right? The voters will say, oh, then my gal's going to win. I don't need to vote. So they kind of had to ride that line then. Yes, I'm confident, but we need to get out there and vote. That's what you hear from both of them today.
Carolyn Presutti, let me thank you very much for your time. She's from the Voice of America in Palm Beach, Florida. We'll, of course, be hearing more from our team on the ground. That also, of course, includes our own Zianda Ngobo, as well as Goli Mgambi. We'll be having them in the next couple of hours as well.